Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Patholkus, and this is Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. So, it's kind of a slow news week this week. I don't know why, it just is. And we're going to talk about lots of different things. And I'm going to, my voice is going to crack here and there because I feel like I'm coming down with a little something. I don't know what it is. There's a lot of people that are sick at work. So, you know, you guys know who you are out there if you're listening, coming in all sick and snotty and stuff like that. Anyway, let me get some business out of the way first. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the little bell down below. If you've already hit it again, don't hit it again because it will unclick the button. You can go to the bell settings, get as many or as little notifications as you want, and you have a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you, letting you know that I'm actually online, because that's the way YouTube is. If you really want to know when I'm going to be on, go to my website, suspendedfanimation.com. I have my schedule up there. I change it out every Monday. And I also mirrored it on my Facebook page. It's mirrored there as well. There is also a Facebook group page. You guys can post stuff there. You can chat amongst yourselves, all that good stuff. I just ask, keep it clean for the most part, and respectful of each other. I do look at it. So I get notifications and all that stuff. So I do look at it. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and I also have a Patreon page, but I don't have any tiers set up as of yet. I will at the end of this year. So, hey, Jar, how's it going? Yeah. So, as people are starting to trickle in, let's go to something. I'll start off with this. Sure, why not? So, HBO Max. HBO Max is coming out, that streaming service. They just announced that it's going to be free for DirecTV and AT&T TV Now subscribers or customers, which is good for them because they're fucking paying like $85, $125 a month, something like that now. If you're that stupid to be paying that much money for those streaming services, especially when cable is actually now cheaper than that, then yeah, I don't know what to tell you. And also, initially, HBO Max was supposed to cost something like $13 a month, something like that. Now it's being released that most likely it's going to cost around $8 a month because they just don't have they really don't have the properties, to tell you the truth. So yeah, trickle in economics, exactly, Stanley. That's where we're at. Take a little sip of my tea, quote, end quote. There we go. Who the fuck is Joe number two? I think he's talking about Joe Greer, who was in here earlier. Joe, that's who he's talking about. So yeah, Joe Greer was in here way back in the beginning before I even started. So that's who he's talking about. Let's see what else we got here. So, did everyone see the Bloodshot trailer, the new trailer for Bloodshot with Vin Diesel, which is coming out on February 21st? Actually didn't look half bad, to tell you the truth. At first, I was looking at it like, oh god, we're polishing off this old chestnut again. And then it started going. It almost became like Groundhog Day in a way, the way it was rolling. And I'm like, huh, this is kind of interesting. I don't remember the comic, quite honestly, all that much. Because I only had the first comic and it was a really shitty comic. Sorry, Valiant Entertainment, if you're out there. But yeah, it was a very shitty comic. The one thing that's kind of weird is Vin Diesel is not. They didn't bleach him out or anything like that because Bloodshot is supposed to be white because I guess there's no red blood cells or something like that with this treatment that he's got. He's basically a super soldier who died, or he's now a super soldier. He was a soldier who died. They put him in an experiment where he can be regenerated now, and they're using him to kill people. And basically, what they're doing is they're using memories, a memory of his wife being killed, and then they change out who the person is who kills his wife. They just change out the face in his mind, and then send him out to go kill that person as a revenge story. Shut him down, reboot him, and do it all over again. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. I mean, that's a good way of doing it. So I kind of want to see where they go with it. Disney Plus only wants a kidney. Actually, Disney Plus EJAR was quite reasonable, to tell you the truth. I got a 3-year subscription for what was it, 140 bucks, 144 bucks, something like that, which isn't bad. A 3-year subscription. And yeah, I'm okay with that. It works out to about like $4 a month. And yeah, I'm not a Disney D23 member or anything. Well, I take that back. I am now a D23 member. I didn't pay for it. It's one of the free memberships, just to get that special deal. And yeah, I'm happy with it. We'll see what happens, once this comes out. So speaking of subscriptions, Xbox Game Pass for PC is $1 per month at the moment. That's if you have an Xbox. And you get the Outer Worlds and Gears 5 included. Better deal than any TV streaming if you are a gamer. Yeah. Um oh, for PC. Okay. Xbox Game Pass for PC. Got it. Yeah. That's not bad. Yeah, I don't play games, so all that often, I should say. As my dusty PS4 over there can attest to. I mean, I wanted to get back into Destiny again, Destiny 2, because they have some new stuff going on, but I haven't done it. I'll more than likely fire up the PS4 again because I don't think Disney Plus runs on the Amazon Fire, if I'm not mistaken. It's running on everything but the Amazon Fire and a couple other things. But the PS4 happens to be one of the things that Disney Plus will work on, which is kind of, disappointing, but all right, sure. That's fine. Oh, yes, I only play games with women's hearts. That's right. The ones that I get in the mail. Um, I don't know who sends them, but you're a sick person, whoever it is. Yes, that went to a dark place, but it is Halloween time, even though it's 90 fucking degrees around here. Uh, Dennis, would you get Disney Network packaging allowing the full Disney? What, Mr. Roboto? Disney Plus. Are you talking about the Hulu package or the? I mean, because there is a package that Disney has where it's Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus for, I want to say it's like $12 a month or something like that. And quite honestly, I don't need any of those. Hulu keeps spitting out deals to me all the time for $2 a month or $2.99 a month, something like that, which I might end up doing. Yeah, the full Disney is when you show your Goofy to people. Uh, yeah. Stanley, God, you don't even know me, man. Oh, I know Hulu just wants my $2, Mr. Roboto. So I will probably end up getting Hulu once their animated stuff kicks in, the Marvel animated stuff. They have 4 different shows. Actually, it's going to be 5 because they all team up for the Marvel Offenders at the end there. So that's when I'll get it, is when they actually start streaming that, but not before. And also, I'll probably end up dropping Netflix at that point too, because Netflix is just too damn expensive for what they have. Talking about your cable subscription. Oh, you're talking about my cable subscription, Stanley? Is that what it was? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll probably end up dropping cable too at some point. Just because that's, I just need to find a decent TV streaming service that doesn't cost an arm and a leg and is stable, quite frankly, and has the channels that I want. It's not that many channels, quite honestly. Um, I caught some of the Runaways, none of Cloak and Dagger. You're lucky, Mr. Roboto. So let's go to that big news. Why not? So Jeph Loeb is leaving Marvel TV. Thank God, or Buddha, or Cthulhu or whoever was responsible for it, because I swear he was the worst thing about Marvel TV, him and Ike Perlmutter. So now with Kevin Feige moving into the TV realm of Marvel, Marvel Studios has basically taken over Marvel TV. Um, Agents of Shield is dead after this the seventh season, which is really the second half of the sixth season. So what they did was they took the sixth season, which was supposed to be 20 some odd episodes, 24 episodes, and they split it in two. And they call one half season six, one half season seven. They've already aired season six, which yeah, was a shit show. I watched it. Season seven will be the final one. That'll be done. Cloak and Dagger and Runaways are the last two live action shows that Marvel TV had until this week, until yesterday or 2 days ago, when Freeform canceled Cloak and Dagger after two seasons. So that only leaves Runaways in the mix there, which has, a season 3 in the can, and it was supposed to do a crossover with Cloak and Dagger, which that episode is still there. But don't be surprised if you hear Cloak and Dagger, or excuse me, Runaways getting canceled after season 3. Why is this? Because Kevin Feige's going in and cleaning house. He's getting rid of anything that had Ike Perlmutter's stamp on it and getting rid of anything that had Jeph Loeb stamp on it. So, yes, yes, that's right. Cloak and Dagger has been canceled. I know we need to mount a petition on that one. Movie Finobi needs to get on that right away because it is his favorite show. And Viking Bitch needs to get on Runaways before it gets canceled, because that's going to be happening next. That's her favorite show. I don't know what they can send the TV executives. Maybe they can send them little vials of tears in the mail for Cloak and Dagger. And for Runaways, I don't know. Condoms, tiny violins. Yeah. So yes, Hulu. So Marvel TV under Jeph Loeb was also going to be doing Hellstrom as a live action project. Don't be surprised if that is now being taken over by Marvel Studios and being turned into an actual good series. They've already hired on. They've already cast the cast, but I don't think there's been a script put in place as of yet, really. And that is going to be kind of interesting. We're going to see where that goes. I, for one, am actually excited about this because it means we're not going to have that homogenized bullshit that we've been getting from Marvel TV, where so Marvel Studios has been putting out some quality stuff. Arguably, you can quibble about the scripts and what storylines they've done and how they've changed the characters and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But they've actually been pumping money into it. Disney has been pumping money into it, and it works. It's actually created some really good stuff, you know, some enjoyable movies, quite honestly. And now they're going to do that for TV. They're going to do that for their TV shows because Disney Plus is rolling out, and they are rolling out these Loki, WandaVision, um, Falcon and the Snowman. I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and quite a few other shows. And so now they are trying to do the same thing with their cable shows, with their Hulu shows. So the animated shows are fine. The animated shows, you can do whatever you want. Um, Ike Perlmutter has been known to be a fucking cheapskate, and that's the reason why we got a shitty Inhumans, as shitty as we got. That's why we got shitty, Agents of Shield. That's why they got sectioned off. They were supposed to be part of the movies and actually supposed to be running concurrently with the movies, Agents of Shield, but that got had a divider put in between it when Kevin Feige got moved up and didn't want anything to do with Ike Perlmutter anymore, because he was basically being nickel and dime by Ike Perlmutter, and he didn't want to do that. He actually wanted to give good quality programming out there. Yeah. Fahey is to blame for the split too. Yeah, he is. He really is. He said, "I don't wanna deal with Ike Perlmutter at this point," because he didn't wanna deal with, well, Ike Perlmutter's an asshole for the most part, allegedly, just in case anybody out there is listening for that. Um, I don't like the man's politics, 1, and 2, he's a cheapskate, you can tell from what we've been getting. Inhumans is a perfect example. They didn't have enough money to do Medusa's hair, so what did they do? They shaved the actress's head. Really? I mean, come on. Yes, Inhumans is obscure, but the thing is, it's got some good storylines in it if you actually treat it properly. If you just take those characters and then plunk them down on Hawaii and then see where it goes from there, yeah, it's yeah, yeah. I'm just glad that, Kevin Feige is taking over this. I knew that Jeph Loeb as soon as it was announced that, Kevin Feige was doing Marvel TV, I knew that Jeph Loeb's days were numbered, either by his own hand or by Feige's, one of the 2. And it looks like he's taking the initiative and he's leaving himself, which is fine. Sounds like someone wanted to go to Hawaii for their yeah, exactly. No, that's Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler is the one who wanted to go Hawaii for his, movies. He wanted a Hawaiian vacation that was paid. So, uh, I'm actually happy with that. I really am. And, like I said, with Hellstrom, maybe we might actually get something good out of this now. And we might end up going into the like, the Midnight Suns, uh, doing something that was we need to go into the supernatural side of Marvel as well. Doctor Strange didn't delve far enough into the dark, the mystic side of the Marvel universe. And there's a huge mystic side of the Marvel universe, just like there is the DC universe. I don't know why both Marvel and DC, the movie versions of them are hesitant to even touch the magic portions. I mean, fuck. Game of Thrones was a huge thing and it relied on magic. Lord of the Rings, huge series, relied on what? Magic. Fucking embrace it. Go with it. Roll with it. There's a lot of stories out there. Do it at this point. Yeah, Anson Mount is really fucking unlucky with his projects lately. I agree with you, Stanley. He's a good actor. He's a really good actor and loved him in Hell on Wheels. He actually ended up taking over the production of Hell on Wheels to finish it out. And that's a great series that he's in, but ever since then he's been getting some really shitty projects. Which ones? Johnny Blaze, which why not Blade? So Blade is being remade, Mr. Roboto. It is Ali Maja. I can never pronounce his name. So he's the guy that was in he's been in a ton of things, and I'm blanking on it right now. He just won an Oscar last year. So he is the new Blade, and they are working on that now. Anson Mount is the new Ted McGinley. Yeah, he actually is, Ejar. Anson Mount is the new Ted McGinley. You bring him in and he cancels a series. Cottonmouth, thank you, Stanley Tweedle. I was blanking on characters that I saw a whole bunch of characters flash through my mind, and Cottonmouth wasn't one of them. So yeah, Cottonmouth from first season of Luke Cage. Again, a series that could have been awesome. Luke Cage and Iron Fist, but because money again was skimpy on it. Yeah, that's why it sucked. Yes, Hellstrom is son of. Well, you're thinking son of Satan, which is something else. Well, kind of, sort of. Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff that is mystical in the Marvel universe that they could, yeah, that they could do. True Detective season 3. Yeah, that's right. He's in True Detective season 3 as well. Uh, you're saying that Luke Cage was not awesome. The parts of it were, Mr. Roboto, but a lot of it wasn't. and I'm a huge Luke Cage fan. I mean, huge Luke Cage fan. And I love Heroes for Hire. I want to see, I want to see an Iron Fist and Luke Cage matchup, a Power Man and Iron Fist matchup. I want to see Daughters of the Dragon. I want to see a Heroes for Hire. I want to see that before I die, at least. And I loved, the yeah, you got to recast Iron Fist. But if you go back in and take a look at Luke Cage season 2, episode 10, if I remember correctly, where they had the team up between Iron Man and Power Fist, excuse me, Power Iron Fist and Power Man. There we go. That was a perfect episode. And that was what they should have based Heroes for Hire on, was just that episode alone. Even with Finn being as shitty as he was in as Danny Rand. Who owns the right to Mr. A? That might make an interesting show. I don't know who Mr. A is, Ejar. I don't know who you're talking about there. Yes, Stanley Tweedle. That was the best Iron Fist right there, was that episode of Luke Cage. Yeah. Well, hopefully Disney Plus will do a Heroes for Hire and do it right. Now that Marvel TV is running all of this. It's all under one now at this point. Yeah. What else we got here? Oh yeah. So we got the final trailer for Rise of Skywalker that comes out on December 20th. And everyone's like clamoring about it, going, "Oh my god, that's the best thing I've ever seen." And C3PO made me cry. I was like, yeah. All right. Uh-huh. Okay, so you bring back Emperor Palpatine. Got it. Uh-huh. So he's hooked up to a chair that's keeping him alive. Yeah. All right. Oh, so C3PO's got red eyes now. Oh, so you're bringing in comic book canon into. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I'm not one of those people that is clamoring to go and see it. Uh, I really don't care about it now at this point, to tell you the truth. No, and C3PO did not make me cry, Mr. Roboto, or I'm looking at all my friends because one, C3PO spent all of like 5 minutes with any of these people. So they are not his friends. Uh, so I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, other than Chewbacca. Chewbacca and R2 are the only people that are there that are his friends, unless Leia's there too. And then yeah, that's 3 people out of the 18 that are there. It had great visuals, but did not make me care about this. Yeah, so the visuals are not J.J. Abrams doing. That is the special effects people at ILM. And yes, they are going to have some great visuals of it. That's the way Star Wars is. It's the story. The story sucks now. I really don't give two rats ass about the story at the moment. It's a shitty storyline. The whole thing about destroying the past in order to make the future, but you're making the future the exact same thing as it was in the past. And speaking of woke, I mean, you should get woke to that, actual reality that basically what you're doing is you're doing the same shit over again and calling it, you're eating shit and calling it farina at this point. Yeah. The Mandalorian, on the other hand, yes, is going to be something different. This is actually someone who appreciates Star Wars, likes Star Wars, and has a good storytelling sense. And I'm talking about Jon Favreau. Yeah. I don't eat farina either, Morks, but that was the first thing that came to mind. I don't know why. Some weird shit flies through my head sometimes, man. Don't call me on it. The Mandalorian, does that come with an egg roll? Ejar. You should be put on timeout for that one. And hey, giant African face fly. Okay. Uh Interesting. Is my tea Irish? No, it is not, Mr. Roboto. Yeah, it's I I'm really like I said, I'm The Mandalorian I'm looking forward to so much more than I am Rise of Skywalker. Am I gonna see Rise of Skywalker? I will eventually. I'm not gonna rush out and see it. I'll go and see it eventually though. Um it's not something that where's Viking bitch at? I smell a roll. I don't know. I don't know where they're at. Maybe they forgot as usual. So that's why it comes out before episode 8. Yeah, I know Stanley Tweedle. So The Mandalorian, first of all, has a great cast. That you have Werner Herzog as a villain on a TV show that's based on Star Wars. That right there trumps fucking anything J.J. Abrams can do, quite honestly. That right there is worth the price of admission. If you have never seen Werner Herzog act, you're missing something at this point. And yeah, yes, Stanley Tweedle, Werner Herzog. Yes, he is a villain in The Mandalorian. Yes. Also, Nick Nolte plays a he plays an Ugnaught, or actually, he voices an Ugnaught in The Mandalorian. There's actually an actress, uh, uh, vertically challenged actress, shall we say, that is wearing a animatronic mask that Nick Nolte is doing the facial expressions for and speaking through for the Ugnaught. Yeah. So I said Werner Herzog. I didn't say Herner. I said Werner. You need to, turn up your volume or something. I don't know. There's so many people that are in this that are, and there's so many people that are directing the episodes that are awesome of this. Um, all seen by Jean Favreau, overseen by him. And granted, he's producing it. He didn't have a big eye on the first season. He was overseeing a good majority of it and put stuff together, but he's definitely in the second season where he's directing and doing things like that. So I trust his vision a hell of a lot more than I do JJ. You know, I need more Ritalin Abrams. Hasn't been long enough to reboot Krypton yet. Sure, why not? Yeah. And Gus firing, opening a new Poya. What? I don't know what you're talking about there, EJR. So yeah, the Rise of Skywalker trailer. That's great. Go and buy your tickets, I guess. I'll go and see a bargain matinee show some point in time, maybe like 3 weeks after it comes out. Or you know what? I am off those last 2 weeks of the year, and I'll go and see it sometime then. During maybe Christmas or something like that, when it's not that crowded. Because quite honestly, like I said, I'll go and see it just to complete it. I'm probably going to be disappointed in it. I'm more than likely going to be disappointed in it. So, oh, Gus Fring is going to be in The Mandalorian. Okay, got it. Yeah. What about Rise of Farscape? What's a Farscape? Let's see here. Oh, Batwoman got a full season order over at the CW. It only took him 3 episodes. But yeah, she finally got a full order over at the CW. Um what else do they've got going on? Tell you the truth, over at the CW. They really don't have that much. And yeah, I could see them, greenlighting it. That's fine. It's not the worst Batman representation. It's not the best. It's by far not the best representation. At least she still makes a better Bruce Wayne than Ian Glenn does from Titans. I'm gonna say that much. I'm gonna say this, that Ruby Ruby Rose makes a better Bruce Wayne than Ian Glenn does. And that's not saying much. Yeah. Everything else to be an embarrassment, they basically have to. Yeah, I agree with you, Stanley Tweedle. If it's not the worst, then it's damn near close to it. Um, no, there have been worse on the CW. I mean, there's Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey was pretty bad, and that was before the CW was actually called the CW. It was called I forget what it was called now. The WB at that point. Yeah. Mork's Batwoman is awesome. I love it and watch every episode twice. Uh huh. Yeah. Worse in the Arrowverse. So the Arrowverse has its own set of problems. Yeah. Time for a reboot of Dawson's Creek. That's what all the CW shows are, anyways. Dawson's Creek. With mirror humans, what are those fish people, Mr. Roboto, or are you talking about metahumans? Mirror humans. It's Spanish for look at the humans. Um, what else I got here? Oh yeah. So Bob Iger. So remember that Scorsese and Coppola both have been jumping on the bandwagon to promote their movies by creating controversy, saying that the Marvel movies are nothing but nothing more than theme park rides, is what Scorsese said, and Coppola called them despicable, is what Coppola called them. Mainly because they both had movies coming out that no one was going to see. Scorsese's Irishman was going to Netflix and streaming, which was going to get buried in the stream anyway. It's essentially the Goodfellas remade again for the 18th time. And Coppola had some indie movie that no one's heard about that was coming out. No one really cares about it, quite honestly anymore. And don't get me wrong, I loved both of these guys back in the 90s, 80s and 90s when they were doing movies that were relevant, but they keep remaking the same fucking movies over and over again. We get it, guys. It's not like it used to be. You don't like the new movies that pay for your movies to show up on these small screens. But anyway, Bob Iger responded back to these guys, and he says, and I quote, "I'm puzzled by it. If they want to bitch about movies, it's certainly their right. It seems so disrespectful to all the people that work on those Marvel films who are working just as hard as the people who work on their films. Are you telling me Ryan Coogler making Black Panther is somehow doing something that is less than what Marty Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola has ever done on any one of their movies?" And then Iger capped it off by saying, "There, I said it." Um, it wasn't as eloquent as some other people have said, but it does get to the point, is like, movies are movies, man. There's no such thing as cinema verte, or anything like that. That's just being fucking snooty McSnoot snoot at that point. Get off your fucking high horse, quite honestly. I mean, yes, I've taken film classes. I know what those people are supposed to be like. Look at Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino was one of those people way back when in the 90s. He is no longer one of those people. Um, he makes a movie, is what he makes. He makes a very long, fucking boring movie, but he makes a movie. So does Francis Ford Coppola. So does Martin Scorsese. And in some cases, they keep remaking the same movie over and over again. It's not cinema. There is no difference between that and what other people do, unless you're making porn. Porn isn't there for the storytelling. It's there to basically make some money for very little. Yeah, I was going to say very little input, but that was just something. Yeah, yeah, it does sound like butthurt old men. Exactly, Stanley Tweedle. And then Scorsese comes out and walks back his statement about saying that they're theme park rides and that they're not cinema. And I'm like, yeah, so basically what happened was you're seeing the backlash. You're seeing that people, basically Netflix probably talked to you too and said, dude, if you want people to actually watch your movie, you might want to talk that back a bit because a lot of people that watch those movies also watch Netflix and they do hold a grudge and will boycott your stuff. That is what the new thing is now. Yeah. Well, not the new thing. It's been that way for a while, but hey, as John Lennon said, what's old is new again. Yeah, paraphrasing, of course. So just put a beret on Thor, and then it's cinema. You know that Marvel is going to do something. They're going to do something in one of the movies. One of the directors will do it, and if anybody, I think it's going to be James Gunn. That's going to do something, whether it be in Suicide Squad 2 or Guardians of the Galaxy 3, something like that. But you will see something in one of those movies that is going to lightly poke fun at it. And that's fine because it really is just sour grapes of guys that are just trying to get their movies out there. They're not so indie movies anymore. When you are part of the Hollywood system, the Hollywood elite, if you will, you do not make indie movies anymore. You make movies is what you make. You do not make cinema either. And I'm sorry, indie movies are not cinema. They're movies. If you shoot it on celluloid or digital or anything like that, and you show it on a screen to people for money, it's called a movie. Yes. So, that said, speaking of Marvel, Marvel is going to make some podcasts for Sirius XM. What does that mean? Um, so they already have a Wolverine one that's in the works. That one is not, of course, changing. That's something separate from this. But Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Star Lord are getting podcasts of their own. So basically, kind of like a radio platform, if you will. And they're both scripted and unscripted shows and live events that will kick off in 2020. So they say among the shows that Marvel is creating for SiriusXM are 4 10-episode scripted series featuring Wolverine, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Star Lord. A fifth series will see the characters team up is also in the works. So yeah, there you go. Honestly, if I wanted radio, radio would still be around and kicking, but it's not my bag, as they say. Um, I'd rather see stuff like TV shows or movies, to tell you the truth of this stuff. I don't want to listen to stuff. I know people are into listening to podcasts and things like that. Um, yeah, are these like old timey radio serials? Yeah, that's pretty much what they are. Stanley Tweedle. Yes, War of the Worlds, 1938. Oh my God, I can't believe the humanity. Wolverine is slashing up all those ninjas. Oh my God, the humanity. Yeah. I can see Hawkeye having a podcast, not Black Widow. Yeah, I agree. We could use Taxi Driver 100 more times at least. Yeah. Or King of Comedy redone again and again and again and again. Oh, was I doing Sean Connery there, Morks? I don't know. Oh, the humanity. Oh, oh, the humanity. I guess it was a bad Sean Connery, is what that was. It wasn't anybody in specific that I was doing a voice for. It just it was supposed to be old timey radio guy, I guess you could say. Who manatee? Manatee. Professor Manatee. Professor Manatee? Yes, Professor Man I think it was Professor Manatee or Doctor Manatee. Not Colonial Gentleman. I was not doing Colonial Gentleman, that's for sure. Sean Connery, if he had a stroke and was Irish. Thanks, HR. Uh, yeah, I don't do celebrity impersonations, okay? That's not what I'm here for. I barely do what I do well, to tell you the truth. So there. What else we got going on here? Uh sure, I'll go with that one. So this guy named Roberto Aguirre, I'm gonna murder his name. Sakasa is getting an HBO Max pilot order, excuse me, for something called the Shelly Society. So what the hell is the Shelly Society, you might ask? It's supposed to be a young Mary Shelley that leads a group of adventurers, and they go around fighting supernatural creatures. Yeah, that's what it is. And I was like, all right, that sounds kind of interesting, I guess. But yeah, uh, he's also supposed to be working with Greg Berlanti on Dracula's Daughters, and it's supposed to be set during, Bram Stoker's Dracula and following Dracula's daughters, his brides and all that stuff, and yeah. I was like, "All right, it's going to HBO Max. I really don't care now it's coming on to HBO Max." Again, it's another streaming service that, it's done by AT&T, so more than likely, it'll cost $8 to begin with, then it'll balloon up to $18 by, 6 months' time, and then it'll balloon out to $57 per month, and that's the way AT&T has been doing it. Will it have Steve Boyer in it? Yeah, it might. Sounds like Charmed. Maybe call it Drained. Maybe. Yeah. I When I see some trailers for it, maybe I'll make my decision then. But as it sounds on paper, it's like, yeah, it sounds like a lot of stuff that's out there already. Thanks. Um, to think in the real life, the basics of Frankenstein, Dracula, and Dorian Gray were written in the same house on the same weekend. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, was it Mary Shelley had Nightmare. Bram Stoker was actually basing it off of a folklore of stuff. And Dorian Gray, I don't know how he came up with that story. To tell you the truth, I've never heard the basis for that one of how he came up with it. I saw the first episode of Daybreak. I'm sorry, Stanley Tweedle. I heard they don't use guns. That they are not allowed to use guns in that. Uh, would I want to be Frankenstein? Who says I haven't been, Mr. Roboto? You're dumber for seeing the first episode of Daybreak. Yeah. I am not surprised. I've been holding off on it. I will eventually see it. I've been watching actually the Paul Rudd series, Living with Yourself on Netflix, and that's going to be the basis for the next. Is it worth my time? And then you can see what I think of it there. I'm not going to tell you guys here. So, yeah. Is Daybreak like Daybreakers? No, it's not. It's the apocalypse, is what it's supposed to be, with infected people, but with teenagers. Yeah. So the Jim Henson Company is going to do a puppet talk show for Disney Plus called Earth to Ned. And essentially, it's Space Ghost Coast to Coast, but done with puppets, is what this is. And what they're liking this to right now, what I should say, the trades are liking this to right now, is Disney Plus has The World According to Jeff Goldblum, as a series, and supposedly everyone's raving about that series. They're likening Earth to Ned, as good as The World According to Jeff Goldblum. By the way, I'm very much looking forward to the Earth, The World According to Jeff Goldblum, because that looks like it's going to be a shitload of fun. Yeah, Space Ghost and Muppets. Yeah. Uh, well, it's supposed to be an alien talk show host who's a Muppet, of course, and he has a whole bunch of clones that are his co-hosts. Yeah, they did that. It was called Muppets Tonight. Yeah, they did. I'm okay with that, to tell you the truth. If they can do it well, they could tie it in with their shows too. So DC Universe has their weekly, or excuse me, is it daily? I think it's a daily talk or a weekly talk show, something like that, where they bring in guests for all their series, like Titans and excuse me, Swamp Thing when it was on, when it was a series, and um, Doom Patrol and things like that, and also other things that are happening in the DC world and comics and stuff like that. And they interview these people. You could actually do the same thing with Disney Plus and promote your own series within the Disney Plus universe, and then maybe even pump it out since you own ABC and put it out on ABC or stream it on YouTube, things like that. I think that would work. It wouldn't be a bad thing. So, yeah. So, where am I at here on time? Oh, wow. This is going to be a short one today. Yeah. It's definitely gonna be a short one today because, there's not that much news, unfortunately. I'm sorry to tell you guys that. There really isn't all that much. So the final thing I've got here news-wise is that HBO Max is bringing Adventure Time back for 4 one-hour specials. Remember, Adventure Time had ended, last year, if I remember correctly. Or was it 2017? I don't know. Years are blending together now, which is bad. But they're bringing it back now. HBO Max is bringing it back for 4 one-hour specials. So for those of you who are into Adventure Time, there you go. You might be into that. Uh, good grief, the comedian's a bear. No, he's not. Yeah. So after the ending. Yes, exactly. Movie Roboto. That's usually what a special entails. Yeah, you missed pretty much a good majority of it, Pen. I just did the very last uh piece of news that I had because it's a very, very short week. There was nothing. I mean, nothing. I was digging at the bottom of the barrel, and I finally went through the bottom of the barrel and said, "Nope, there's just dirt down here now at this point." So, yeah. Nothing there, unfortunately. Yeah. So, one of the things I did want to talk about that wasn't on my list of things, but I happen to be reading it. There's an online uh site called Slate that is talking about how Watchmen is exactly what comic book movies needed. This Watchmen series, this HBO Watchmen series, and I started thinking about it, and I'm like, no, this is not what. And basically, the person who's writing this has never watched a comic book movie. You could totally tell. And I'm like, no. So essentially, what Watchmen is, the series is what happens when you take a known property of Watchmen and you fold in a canceled series of an unknown property called Confederacy. And yeah, Slate still does exist, EJR, I know. And this is what you get, Watchmen. So the same thing happened with 12 Monkeys and Splinter, only that was actually good because they had a good showrunner and someone who actually knew how to write. Damon Lindelof is neither. He is neither a good showrunner nor is he a good writer. Wasn't that a D&D project? Possibly. So Confederacy, for those of you who don't know, was supposed to be a series about what happened if the South had won the Civil War. And there was so much controversy surrounding that whole series coming out on HBO that they shit canned it. And around the same time, Watchmen was being talked about, but no one had ever jumped on it. And then Damon Lindelof came in because he had finally heard about the Tulsa riots and said, "Hey, why don't we take Confederacy and fold it on into this, into Watchmen? And we can make the entire story more about Confederacy than we can about Watchmen, only without the whole South winning the war kind of thing, because it'll be an alternate history anyway." And that's essentially what you've got going on. Um, so the more and more I keep thinking about it as I'm watching this, I'm like, no, you either do one or the other. You do not take Watchmen that is, something that is classic and then fold in another narrative that has nothing to do with Watchmen and change the narrative of Watchmen to fit your other narrative of this other series that you wanted to do. Yeah. No, I understand that, Mr. Roboto. That's not here or there. I'm talking about changing a narrative of a known story, of a classic story, in order to throw in another narrative of another story and change it entirely. And you're selling it as a comic book movie or a comic book TV show in order to, uh, get people to watch it, to tell you the truth. And I'm sitting here because I was wondering why it was bothering me so much when I was watching the first episode of this and what wasn't clicking for me. And now I finally realized after reading that Slate article is that basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to shoehorn in, they being studios, they're trying to shoehorn in new ideas by grafting on old ideas or old properties instead of just running with the new idea. Um, so we're not getting new comic book shows or new comic book movies in this respect, but we're getting a new show that is being uh again, it's going back to like the Joker. The Joker is King of Comedy. That's really what it is. It's a remake of King of Comedy, only throwing Joker paint on it. Yeah, it's the same thing as the Joker movie. And that is what the new trend is right now in Hollywood. Is you're taking known properties and then grafting on shit that wouldn't sell normally and trying to get you're trying to get more viewers in or more money in your pocket, which is working with Joker because Joker just is getting ready to take over the box office again and be number one over Maleficent 2. Maleficent 2, yes. Marty started a trend. You can blame Spielberg for that trend, Mr. Roboto, if you really want to. So with Jaws and Jaws 2 and all of that. Yeah. Just slap a comic book label on it. So what we really need in response to this Slate article is we actually need real comic book movies. We need to stop dumbing down comic book movies for people who don't understand comics. Fuck you if you don't understand comics. If you don't, it's not for you then. Go someplace else. You can go and watch King of Comedy. You can go and watch, that Kevin Hart comedy that he's done like 15 of the same fucking movie over and over again. Um, I want a true comic book movie. There's only been one true comic book movie in all this time that we've got. We've come close in other respects. Yes, Marvel is good. Marvel has been pumping out some good stuff, but they've never made a true comic book movie. The only, excuse me, I take that back. Marvel, in conjunction with Sony, has made one true comic book movie, and that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Granted, are you going to be able to do that live action? No, you're not going to be able to do something like that live action. But at the same time, you need to stop dumbing these things down so that you can get butts and seats. People are going to come no matter what. You say, oh, it's a Batman movie, and you actually do a real Batman movie, then people will actually like that stuff. To tell you the truth, they'll go, oh, What was this? I don't I've never seen this before in a movie or a comic book movie based on Batman. If you actually did a real Batman story, then people would actually like it. I mean, I'm talking about the regular non-comic book fans. Yeah. No more origin stories. Exactly, EJAR. Fuck you. If you don't know how Superman came to this planet at this point in time, pick up a goddamn book or an ebook or something like that. Get a friend to tell you. Wikipedia it, something like that. It's not that hard. He's got 80 years worth of backstory. You should know it by now. Same thing with Batman. I don't need to see the fucking Wayne family die again. Same thing with Spider-Man. How many times does Uncle Ben need to die? Spoiler alert on that one. Good God. If you have, characters that are obscure like Nova, sure, you can do an origin story. If you want to do an origin story and that you have Disney Plus, you do the origin story on Disney Plus as a small half-hour thing, and then you roll into the fucking movie. There you go. There's a superhero Melissa McCarthy movie. Yeah, I already saw the first photos that came out with Melissa McCarthy and Olivia Spencer dressed in their superhero costumes. It's for Netflix. It's a comedy, and I'm fine with that. It has nothing to do with an existing property, Mr. Roboto, and that's great. Let them do something like that. There's room for everybody on that one. Just stop taking existing properties and twisting them into something they're not supposed to be. I don't want to see Batman twisted into something that you know, coupled with Silence of the Lambs or something like that, a Silence of the Lambs remake. Don't need to do that shit. Hey, and by the way, that Happy Time Murders wasn't bad. I actually saw it on HBO. It was a fine streaming movie. If it was on a streaming service, I would have watched it. I didn't see it in the theaters, but I saw it on cable. Yeah, I just gave someone an idea out there at Warner Brothers to do Silence of the Lambs coupled with Batman. Fuck me. Hope I get some royalties on that one. The Nolan Batman were also comic book movies for the average Joe. Yeah, exactly. It was homogenized Batman, is what it was. It was supposed to be Batman in the real world. Fuck real world. I want to see comic book characters defy the laws of physics. I don't care that they're defying the laws of physics. Well, Spider-Man really can't climb up a wall like that because of the propensity of the tensile strength of his the building side. No, fuck you. I work in science too. Yes, I know that. I can suspend disbelief for a movie. God, that's all. That's all. I'm off my soapbox now on that one. Okay, I may finally watch Happy Time. Um, it's funny, Pen. I mean, you figure out who it is like really early on. It's no surprise on that one. But it's just the banter back and forth. It wasn't worth seeing in the theaters. It really wasn't. Um, but it was fine on cable. Yeah, yeah. If you deduct Melissa McCarthy, it was okay. Eh, she was all right in it, Stanley. You could have replaced her with anybody else, to tell you the truth, and it still would have been the same movie. It just, that's something that she happened to want to do. That's fine with it. Yeah, and the radiation will kill the damn spider. That's why it's a story. Yeah, I know. Well, the same thing. Like if you have a teenager get bit by a radioactive spider, one, yes, the radiation would have probably killed the spider, or the spider had lived long enough so that the spider does die from the radiation, quite honestly, fairly quickly after it bites Peter Parker. Um, let's say you got a teenager that gets injected with some radioactive material, and yeah, he's gonna die from that in real life, kind of thing. I think there was some movie they made a joke about that, about, being bit by a radioactive spider, and he goes, "What if I get bit by a radioactive spider?" He goes, "Well, it's your funeral then." You know? And it was a superhero movie, I can't remember which one it was. Died from biting him, not the green glowy stuff. So actually in the comics, they retcon that a little bit, where they said the spider is actually part of the spider gods that needs to have an avatar on this world. So it was passing it on. It chose Peter Parker, passed on its powers to him, and that spider had done its work, and that's why it died, because it passed on the powers that needed to be done. Yes, that involves Ezekiel, by the way. For those of you who don't know your Marvel lore, Ezekiel is the I think it was like the Spider Gods series. I think Straczynski was involved in that, if I'm not mistaken. Depends on what kind of radiation, Mr. Roboto. So alpha radiation, sure, maybe not. But you start getting to the gammas there. The beta even's not going to really do much to you unless you got some P32. Then once you inject P32, it doesn't have any way of getting out. So you get Bremsstrahlung. Well, you only get Bremsstrahlung if you are using aluminum. Uh, and then that's when you start getting gamma rays that are popping off of that. Oh, did you not want to talk about chemistry and radiation on that? Uh, yes, I do know my radiation. By the way, I did radiation safety for over a decade, so I know my alpha, beta, and gamma emitters and what not to put them in and what to put them in. You went to several alpha betas when you were a kid, HR. That's nice. Those are some really shitty supermarkets. Yeah, owned by the guy who was married to Suzanne Summers. See, there you go. Yeah, plutonium though, I mean, if you have, uranium, plutonium, or anything like that, you the spider wasn't gonna get into that anyway, 'cause it's a shielded source. Yeah. They were talking about a beam here that the spider fell in front of, and I literally am Homer Simpson. I have the same job description as Homer. He and I do have the same job description. So, they were called super savers on the East Coast, use the same commercials they'll be oh, wow. Yeah. That's why I love Homer Simpson, man. Homer Simpson is my spirit animal, I'm pretty sure, at this point in time. Do you judge hazmat contests? I do not. We don't have hazmat contests. I don't have to deal with hazmat anymore. So, yeah. I should say I deal with, perimeters is what I deal with, whenever there's a hazmat incident. I don't have to go in. I've aged out. That's the nice thing about that, is when you age out and you don't need to wear a respirator anymore. Yeah. You push buttons and eat pink donuts? I do. Yep, yep. Uh, your dosimeter is full, you mean? No. No, I don't wear a dosimeter anymore. I don't our radiation safety department takes care of that. I don't have to deal with RAD anymore. So I used to be what was called an alternate radiation safety officer. So what that meant is I still did all the work because a radiation safety officer was my boss at the time. And so I was the one that did all the work. And mainly it was for, mainly alpha and beta emitters. We had a few gamma emitters, but nothing anything that was really bad. This is in a previous life in a different job. Did they give you a badge and a gun? I had a radiation badge and I had a hot glue gun sometimes, Mr. Roboto, but that was for other things. Yeah. I never did any lab work. I did a lot of other stuff though. Do you have any of those decimeters like the ones they use in Star Wars? No, I do not. Man, yeah. So I really have nothing else going on here, news wise or brain wise at this point, I guess you could say too. So I should probably wrap things up, unless you guys had something else you want to talk about. Dennis was replaced with a little plastic bird that bob up and down, pressing the yes button. Sometimes I wish that was the case, quite honestly, Joe. No, my job is not that easy of just sitting there pressing the yes button. Why? But I could just press Y. I've tripled my productivity. No, no, no. Yeah. See you, Mr. Roboto. Yeah. I think I'm gonna wrap things up here because, of course, you know, like I said, the Impulse series on YouTube Premium would be in your wheelhouse. Maybe if I had time, Stanley. I'm too busy, with other stuff. No spoilers, but have you watched Living with Yourself yet? Pen, um, since you weren't here for it, that is gonna be the basis for my next Is It Worth My Time? Yeah. Is it worth my time? It's gonna be Living with Yourself. That sounded funny. Why Hollywood won't give Kermit the Frog any new roles? They won't give any new roles to Kermit the Frog because he's racist, is what it is. Didn't you know that? Kermit the Frog, after he dropped out, he joined a white nationalist group called the Proud Frogs. He's actually part of the Pepe the Frog movement. Oh no, I'm going to hell on that one. I know. How many episodes have you watched, Dennis? Oh, for Living with Yourself, I have watched 5 episodes out of 8. Yeah. I watched 5 episodes out of 8 on that one. And I'm not saying whether or not I like it or not. I gotta keep something for the podcast, you know? Those, Is It Worth My Time are short anyway as they are, so I need to, Dennis, I forget, did you hate Castle Rock? I feel yeah, I did not make it 4 episodes. Uh, so Castle Rock, excuse me, funny story. I saw the first episode at Comic-Con with somebody else that I used to do a podcast with, and I walked out in the middle of it, said, "I gotta go to the bathroom," and I meandered in the bathroom as long as I could. Actually, I found something more interesting in the bathroom during that, first episode that was better than what was going on the screen, and what it was a, toilet seat cover, the Deadpool toilet seat cover, that's right, Pen, you remember that one. It was genius marketing on Fox's part, is they paid for a whole bunch of toilet seat covers with Deadpool on them, and Deadpool was talking about that was their marketing campaign for Deadpool, and, I should have grabbed one, I really should have just grabbed one because they disappeared like that. I went back later on and they were all gone at that point. No, I was meandering going back to coming into the, theater or the hall, I should say. Yeah, meandering, in the bathroom sounds a lot like slash damage. Uh, they probably are. I wouldn't be surprised, Pen. I mean, they weren't worth it, quite honestly. It was just funny. I think I took a picture of it. I might have taken a picture of one. I'm fairly sure I did because it just made me laugh. Splash damage. Slash damage sounds a little bit worse, Stanley. It sounds, you know, like there was something else involved. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of Castle Rock. I tried watching Castle Rock and, yes, I know there are a lot of people that love it. Um, and I think I made it through 5 episodes maybe, and I love the cast. The cast is great, but I'm just like, "Dude, get on with the fucking story. Tell us what you wanna get to. Stop meandering. Stop doing roundabout storylines." 'Cause I heard how it ended, and I'm like, "Well, you coulda done that by episode 3, quite honestly." Season 2 of Castle Rock is the backstory on Annie from Misery. I only watched 1 episode so far, but it's pretty good. It's on Hulu, isn't it, Penn? Yes, the day of the word of the day is meandering, exactly. Um, I think Castle Rock is on Hulu, yeah. I don't have Hulu anymore, so, yeah, um, they really don't have anything on there that that's worth watching for me. I like to say, that they do, but no, they don't. They don't have anything. And besides that, I got so much stuff that I'm watching anyway. So tonight at 6 o'clock, I'm going to be doing Feelings in Hallways. This is the postponed show from Thursday, where I talk about the CWDC shows that have come out this week. And I'll tell you this right now, I fell asleep at the end of 2 of them, which I've got to go back and watch the ending of. And yeah, that's all I can say. Oh, you have a service that gives you the first 3 episodes for free. Detective Chimp. I wish, EJAR. I mean, if we could actually have a Detective Chimp series, I would be on that easily. Detective Chimp is definitely worth the price of admission. So yes, it's a rare Saturday double feature, and tomorrow on Sunday is another double feature of Mr. Robot, the awesome Mr. Robot, and the not so awesome Watchmen, or shall I say Confederacy? I might just start calling it Confederacy because that seems to be what it is anyway. Monday I'm going to be off. Tuesday is going to be Is It Worth My Time? Living with Yourself, the Netflix series Living with Yourself with Paul Rudd. Um, Wednesday I'm off, and then Thursday is going to be Feelings in Hallways. Yes. Your 6 p.m. is exactly when we switch to winter time. Oh, nice, Stanley. That's right. We do the fall back, right? Yeah. Watchmen needs a tiny Lobo. They do. They need something. Because quite honestly, that first episode. Ugh. Um, I just blanked on what I was gonna say there. And oh yeah, so Wednesday, I'm actually heading up to LA because I've got tickets to go and see Conan O'Brien. Conan Without Borders. He went to Ghana and did a couple episodes there, and they're doing a private screening. Well, it's private being like 200, 300 people, and I got tickets to that one. And Conan's going to be there. We're going to actually get a Q&A with him afterwards. We get some swag and whatnot. So that's what I'm doing on Wednesday. I'm calling in. Shh, don't tell anybody. The Watchmen needs broadcast tapes placed next to a bulk eraser. Yeah, exactly. Conan the Barbarian? No, Conan O'Brien. The other barbarian. With the gigantic head, the ginormous head that he's got. Thank you, Penn. And as Penn has been putting up there, follow me on Twitter and on Facebook. Take a look at the Facebook group page and also Patreon, which one day will have tiers. I just don't have them set up as of yet. He's not unemployed, Stanley. He hasn't been unemployed for a couple of years now. He's been working over at TBS. Yes, he was fired by NBC. Actually, Jay Leno, because Jay Leno wanted to come back at one point. That was the whole rumor. Yeah. You live in the San Fernando Valley. Ugh. So, Ejar, you've seen Future Man, right? With the season 2 at least. There's a great line in there where they're talking about it's the future LA, or the future Southern California, I guess you could say. And Juice has been captured. And they're talking about, yes, the valley, exactly. Where they're talking about the shit pits and whatnot, the volcanoes and all this kind of stuff, all these horrible places that are all around, and then the valley. The way they say it, and everyone just kind of goes, the valley, which I thought was pretty fucking funny. If you live in Southern California, you know what I'm talking about. It's pretty damn funny. Yes, Ejar, Conan O'Brien was screwed over by NBC big time. I actually caught him. He did a tour after that where it was just a speaking tour, and it was him on stage. He had his beard going with him, Patton Oswalt, and Andy Richter. So it was supposed to be just him and Andy Richter on stage, but Patton Oswalt joined them, and they had a bottle of whiskey, and they were just sitting there on stage talking. Oh, you sold Conan O'Brien a guitar once? Nice. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. I what was it? It was Comic-Con. Yeah, of course, Comic-Con. They actually had my picture up in the gallery over at Comic-Con one year. It was a picture that I did, and it was supposed to be for his comic book character that Bruce Timm designed. I don't know, I'm blanking on the name now of his comic book character that he does. So I did one in the style of Conan the Barbarian, the cover, the original cover with Conan with the sword raised, but it was his comic book character. Yeah. And it was done in watercolors, and that was up there. Yeah. Penn Farm Girl says Seth Meyer did a really funny explanation of that whole debacle on SNL when it happened. Coco was robbed. Yeah, he was. He was completely robbed. I watched it. It was a good show. It was a lot of fun, and they didn't want what Conan O'Brien was bringing in. They wanted more of so Jimmy Fallon, who's on there right now. I can't watch that show. It's just horribly bad. It really is. I know there's a lot of people who love Jimmy Fallon, but he's not funny. He really is not. Whereas Conan O'Brien has made me laugh out loud on several occasions. Just shit that he's done, especially stuff that's been off the cuff that he thinks of, and you can tell, you can see it in his eyes. It kind of flits across his eyes for a second, and he says it, and that's the best stuff right there, is when it's unscripted and he just spits it out. Yeah. I know where Leno lives. If you want to egg his house, nah. It's not worth it. Besides that, I'm not going in that direction anyway. Yeah, Jimmy is safe and scripted. I agree with you, Joe. TP his house? Maybe. But see, then I need to bring the ladder in order to scale the gates, and it's just too much work. Yeah, I can't watch any Fallon stuff. I've tried. The only time I'll watch a Fallon clip on YouTube is when it's primarily the guest that's speaking about whatever it is. That's about it. As soon as Jimmy Fallon cuts in, it's like nails on a chalkboard and I need to leave. He wasn't even funny on SNL. I mean, he sucked on SNL. Come on, road trip. No, Ejar. Not happening. I don't need to be arrested. And besides that, I think me and my buddy are going to try and hit up the Big Kahuna Burger is supposedly opening up in, from Pulp Fiction. So The Big Kahuna Burger from Pulp Fiction was actually a real place. It was here in San Diego, and it was right around the corner from where a friend of mine lives currently. I've actually been there. I was there when it was still when they had the Big Kahuna Burger, and it was a big fucking burger. They have a smaller version. They had a smaller version of it too, I should say. And it wasn't a great burger. I mean, it wasn't like what Samuel Jackson was making this one tasty burger. It wasn't. It was just an okay burger. It was a burger. Actually, the place down the street a little bit that was on the same block, Rockies, that was a bar, made a fucking tasty burger. But anyway, they are opening up a pop-up restaurant for the Big Kahuna Burger in LA, I believe until the end of this month. So we're talking about maybe hitting that up before we go to the Conan thing. Talking about stalking celebrities, do the new John Travolta movie on Is It Worth Your Time? What's that one called? Do you being arrested again? I have never had bracelets on, Joe, because I run faster than the person I'm with usually. Um, yeah. HR Fuddruckers was okay. Yeah, it used to be okay. But so there's actually, if you ever get up to Northern California, there's a fucking really good burger place called Nation's Giant Hamburgers. And I swear you got to unhinge your jaw in order to open it up in order to get that burger in there. That's one fucking tasty burger right there. That puts burgers down here to shame. I did find one really good place down here that is really good, but it's a bar and it's called Dan Diego's. But yeah, they use Irish cheddar and an egg on top and all that kind of stuff. See, you come into Saturday morning blast off for genre news and you get restaurant reviews. Where else can you get that? Cops cut Ejar. Ejar will trip me. Yeah. I'm pretty good on my feet, man. I'm pretty nimble. So remember, you don't need to be the fastest that were in the grizzly bear, only faster than your friend. Exactly, HR. Same thing with zombies. You don't need to be faster than the zombies, just faster than your friend. Yeah, exactly, Pen. There are some really good burgers in bars, and this place, it literally is the best burger I've had down here in San Diego. Everyone keeps talking about Hodad's, and I'm like, Hodad's okay, and everyone keeps telling me, oh, you got to try this place. I go and try it. I'm like, yeah, all right, it's a okay burger, it's nothing special, but you need to put some fucking spices in there. Dress up do something to the meat to make it sing. You know, it's the same thing you're doing when you're cooking. Use a little bit of spice. Doesn't need to be a lot, just a little bit, just to bring out the fresh meat, all that kind of stuff. Fresh ingredients. And like I said, the Irish cheddar on this thing that Dan Diego's does, along with the egg. I'm not a big fan of egg on burgers, but that actually works. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm probably going to go there and grab a burger, even though it's pretty damn far away from me. In and Out sucks. I'm sorry, Jar. In and Out's just a fucking travesty. That people wait that long in line for that little bit of a shitty burger, it just boggles my mind. It really does. I know people are all about In and Out. No. Nope, 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 nope. That is just a shitty burger. And their fries, my God, their fries are fucking horrible. That's why I need to dress it up in animal style. I had it In and Out 20 years ago, EJR. It was still the same. Oh, thank you, Pen. So the Travolta movie is called The Fanatic. Oh, I heard something about it. Uh, Now Popeye's chicken sandwich, on the other hand, that thing fucking surprised me. I gotta say, Joe. I We have a local Popeyes, And before the craze happened, I went to the drive-through line and I saw, oh, they have a chicken sandwich because I was just gonna grab like, one of their chicken boxes or something like that. I'm like, all right, I'll get a chicken sandwich and some fries. That sounds good. That was the best chicken sandwich I had through it from a drive-through ever. And I was very surprised by that when I went back the next week, and that's when the word had gotten out about it. And the line was around the block from cars and stuff like that. People were lined up inside, and I was like, yeah, I'm not getting that chicken sandwich ever again. And I was right until I think next month they're going to start it up again. So the best thing about In and Out used to be their bumper stickers, because it said In and Out Burger, and the way they had the words placed, you could actually chop off the B and the R of burger and put that on your car. So it says In and Out Urge. That was what the best thing was about In and Out Burger. Other than that, their burgers sucked and still do. And I stand by that. You can rage all you want about it in the comment section. I don't care. Those burgers suck. If you do get up to the valley, the stand in Encino is good. A bit pricey, but good components. Huh. That's right. Each In and Out Urge. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Those are for those of us old schoolers that actually went way back when they had the really good bumper stickers. You used to see those all over California, the In and Out Urge. Mommy, what does that mean? Ask your dad. Uh, yep, and the black flag sticker right next to it, exactly. That Urge was also better 20 years ago. Yeah. But you didn't come here for the burgers, you came here for the news and all that stuff. Um, yeah, what else do I have going on? Give me a sec here. 'Cause I need to reach my book. Da, 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 the book with the skull head on it. Now you're hungry for lunch. Me too, Ejar. You probably heard my stomach grumbling there for a second. So what do I got going on here? I already did Primal, Watchmen, yeah. The Good Place, I already did, yeah. Batwoman, I'm doing right now. Not personally, but the series. You managed to get 90 minutes at least. I did. There was a lot of ranting though in this one. There we go. The Man in the High Castle comes out on November 15th. So the Man in the High Castle more than likely is going to be Is It Worth My Time? Because it gets dropped all at once on Amazon. So that one's probably going to be Is It Worth My Time? The Mandalorian, of course, is on November 12th, which is a Tuesday. His Dark Material is on November 4th, which is a Monday. So I'm going to start up on Mondays again. That's HBO. Project Blue Book, I haven't figured out when season 2 is coming out yet. I believe it's in 2020 at some point. Rick and Morty, their second season drops on November 10th. I am not doing episode by episodes on that one. I'm not even going to do anything about Rick and Morty because, like I said, those motherfuckers scare me that like Rick and Morty, and I really don't want them anywhere near my channel, especially the really rabid ones. And The Expanse, of course, on December 13th. There is something called Limetown. Oh, that's already out there. It's started in October 16th. I'll see about Limetown. I'll see what that's all about. That's Jessica Biel's new series that was on Facebook Watch. And that's going to be the next thing I need to actually. There we go. Yeah. So The Expanse season 4 is going to drop all at once for Amazon. I thought the end of the fucking world got canceled after season 2, didn't it, Stanley? Or maybe I'm yeah. Is Primal getting a second go round? So EJAR, I believe they only dropped half of the first season, and it's kind of like what they're doing with Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is only going to have 5 episodes drop in 2019, and then 2020 they're going to drop the second 5 episodes. It's only got 10 episodes. Yeah. She's producing that, Pen. I heard Sinner is actually good. The first season I heard is really good. The second season I heard kind of sucks. So that's probably the reason why it's based off the first season. She's probably coming back for that. Which of the two is Morty? That is the kid. No, Joe, it does not. It really doesn't. Are you saying I burp a lot? So, Rick and Morty, one of the fun things I didn't realize was the reason why Rick burps a lot and all that stuff and drinks a lot. It's actually based on an old 70s, 80s personality who used to be on TV quite a bit, Foster Brooks. So this was an old guy who supposedly was drunk most of the time, and he was on TV. He'd appear in movies every now and then too, and he would drink and burp. That was pretty much it. That was part of his act. So take a look at that on, you can Google it and Foster Brooks and see who that guy was. And that is who Rick is based on, pretty much. That's or that at least, yeah. At least that a tribute is what it's based on. Is that I didn't realize that. Season was based on a German crime novel. Don't know about season 2. I never watched it, to tell you the truth. I never watched Sinner. Yeah. But Limetown actually looks really good. It's interesting. And like I said, it's on Facebook Watch. And I've also at some point I've got to finish up Karate Kid, or not Karate Kid, Cobra Kai season 2. I refuse to pay for it, so they've been releasing each episode and making them free, and that's why I've been watching them, is that way, as they make them free. Yes, it is Facebook Stanley Tweedle. So yeah, take a look at the trailer for it, Limetown, and tell me if what you think of it. Season 1 was worth a watch. Still, a coworker said they discussed it in film study class in college. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised they talked about Sinner in a film study class. Quite honestly, you talk about a lot of stuff in a film study class. We even talked about porn at one point. That still reminds me, one of my favorite things that one of my teachers, and it just came off the cuff, was and it was in regards to the whole porn thing, was clown porn. And I don't know why, but also he's heard, and I was like, oh my God, that image has been burned in my head ever since. Uh, he was a funny guy, man. He really was. He's still out there doing films and whatnot. He's working on an animated film right now. Honk honk. Exactly. Oh God, no to clown porn. Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, I mean, that could be, if you have clown phobias and then, melding that with porn, yeah, that'll put you off sex right there for a little while. Uh it wasn't a who done it, it was a why done it. Yeah. I understand what Sinner is all about. Yeah. Because she didn't even know why she did it. God, no to clown porn. Yeah. Just say no to clown porn, kids. Ooh, ooh. I've officially got the gamut of all kinds. I've done everything but the kitchen sink in this podcast, I believe, in this episode. And octopuses. There you go, EJAR. Now it's officially complete. Yeah. Uh, I have been in clown makeup before. I'm not gonna say why. Don't put clown horror plots in my porn. That will screw me up completely. Uh, no. It was actually so I was putting clown makeup for a bartending gig that I did, a catering bartending gig. Uh, so it was this weird thing. It was supposed to be this is during the first .com round in the San Francisco Bay Area. It was supposed to be a space theme kind of thing, and I was wearing a knockoff Star Trek: The Next Generation shirt. That's what they had me in, and they painted my face, and the painting just started going really awry to the point where it just became, fucking it became a clown. As one of my friends said who was managing the gig that night was, "I look like a a transvestite clown whore." I mean, it was some bad fucking makeup, and I know there's a picture of it someplace, but there was only a Polaroid picture of it, so thank God this is before digital, and, yeah, man, it was bad. I mean, as soon as they said, you know, "You're free, we're done for the night," I went straight to the bathroom and was just washing that shit off my face as much as possible. I was in the bathroom for, like, a good 20 minutes just scrubbing that shit off my face. Yeah. Transvestite clown whore, yep, there you go. Jim was all about the whores for some reason. Jim was the guy who, I'm talking about who called me the transvestite clown whore. He every story for some reason revolved around whores. His word, not mine. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kinda surprised, and also disappointed that Movie Finobi and Viking Bitch aren't here. Oh, trust me, I made sure that fucking shit was water-based before they put it on me, because there was no way I was walking out into the streets of San Francisco with that stuff on. Ah, thanks, Joe. Clown dressed in a pickle, or supposedly a pickle. I'm surprised you didn't do the little water emoji too. No, Pen, not at that point in time in the area that I was at. That would have not, gone over too well, but yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit that I've done in my life, and that's one of them. Yeah, what was it? I worked the Twister wrap party, you know, the movie Twister for the VFX guys, and that was a country theme is what it was. And, so I had to work bartending on my feet in fucking cowboy boots, and that was painful. Um, I also did the Men in Black. Actually, I think if I remember correctly, that's right. I think the transvestite clown horror makeup was for the Men in Black, uh, VFX wrap party. Yeah. That might very well have been, which was great because that meant that my face was obscure to anybody that I wanted to work with in the future in that industry. Yes, bartending is rough enough without cowboy boots on. Yeah. We all we kept seeing was clips of the movie of the VFX stuff over and over. How many times I've seen that cow flying through the air? Yeah, I don't know now because it was on loop on the big screen behind me. Yeah, I did a lot of weird shit for that company. I worked the Super Bowl, one year, saw Evander Holyfield with his freshly bitten off ear, that was sewn back on, Interacted with Dave Grohl while he was singing at another event in um, San Jose. What else? Worked with a concussion, a mild concussion. Didn't realize I had one while I was working. This was after a full, 8-hour, 9-hour day of work, and then going straight to that. What else? Had Now you want cauliflower? Why do you want cauliflower? Uh, yeah, the whole .com, that first .com thing. There was a lot of drugs that were going around at the time. Well, there still are. Oh, the ear. Got it. And yeah, there's some stories I could tell you guys about that too at some point in time. This really is the rambly episode of this of this week. Just me rambling on and on and on. Um, yeah, I did a lot of weddings too, though. I mean, a shit ton of weddings. There was one wedding, those people drank. I mean, we had extra alcohol, and they drank everything that I had. Everything, and I'm talking everything. We went back with nothing but our tables and our, tubs and our linens. That was it, and our glasses. They took ice, they took our mixers, they took everything. That's how bad that one was. They were nice people, though. They tipped very well. But, yeah, they ended up actually going to the liquor store, the nearby liquor store, to buy more alcohol. That's how big they were at drinking. I used to do there was a fireman's ball that they used to have, and they would have an open a cash bar, and there'd be 3 of us that were bartending. I'd always be at least 3 times more in the amount of money that I would take in because of how many drinks I would be pouring. So within a 3-hour time period, I made over $3,000. Mhm. That's called heads down bartending, kids. It's when you're just looking down and just pouring shit and sending them out, and getting money for it. So yes, $1,000 an hour. Of course, I was getting paid that much, but yeah. New Year's Eve, actually, 1999 to 2000, when everyone was worried about Y2K. I was working in San Rafael because the city of San Rafael decided to put on this huge gig, and because I had negotiated with the company that I was working with, and I told them I wanted $1,000 for the evening, and any tips, of course, that I got. And they're like, "Sure," and I'm like, "Put it in writing. I want this shit in writing." And so they did. They put it in writing for me. And then when they realized they had a lot of people that were coming in anyway, that they were going to work for it, they wanted to lowball us and just go back to the regular hourly rate. I'm like, nope. I got my contract right here from you guys for $1,000, minimum of 4 hours, but I get, $1,000 for the evening. You already have me booked, and that's it. They were pissed. So what did they do? They stuck me in so there's different rooms or different tents that they had. And in the tent that was with Those Darn Accordions. So Those Darn Accordions is a group of 8 accordion players. It's a band that has 8 accordion players. And that's where I got stuck in that room by myself. Well, yeah, at one point it was by myself because no one came by to check on us. And so we were the only bar that had nobody in the room, of course, and all the other bars were slammed. So people started hearing about that our bar was open and they would start coming in. And I started to run out of stuff. And I actually sent our second bartender out to go and grab stuff, and he disappeared at one point. And then finally, just before midnight was getting to roll around, and I was like, I am not fucking listening to accordions, ringing out the new year. And so I said, I'm going on break. I left. I went over to the Bonnie Raitt tent because Bonnie Raitt was playing at the time, and ABC TV was there because it was part of the whole, Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve. So they were showing the West Coast portion of it, and I remember being on TV briefly because my friends were over in the Bonnie Raitt tent because it was a huge bar that was there, and we're all drinking champagne just as the camera pans past us, and we're not supposed to be drinking behind the bar at that point in time. So yeah, I know. Typical bar back gets lost. Exactly. But yeah, I'm fairly sure I was on TV drinking at that point in time at the Bonnie Raitt concert thing. So yeah, that's how I rang of the new year on that one. But yeah, I think I made all in total with tips and everything else. I made $1,600 for that night, which is pretty damn good. I worked like 14 hours, but that still wasn't bad. Drinking champagne out of a shoe. Nope. That's just disgusting. Quite honestly, HR. Yeah. Especially since alcohol, tends to wash off whatever's in there and ugh, yeah. That was kind of a weird sound. I don't know what that was. Hey, that was the only time I made money, Joe. They really didn't like me after that one because I stood by my guns and I had a contract as well. Huh. Yeah, I got sent on a lot of shit gigs after that. I didn't last too long at that company afterwards. Hmm. All right. So with that said, now I'm really going to go. So join me tonight at 6 p.m. for Feelings and Hallways. Excuse me. Tomorrow for back to back Mr. Robot and then Watchmen episode 2. Monday I'm off. Tuesday is or excuse me, is it worth my time living with yourself? Wednesday I'm off. Thursday, of course, is Feelings and Hallways again. Excuse me again. And Fridays is Titans, and then we roll all the way back around again to Saturday morning blast off. Thank you, everybody. Yes, hit that like button before you go. Like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about joining up, you're going to see a video pop up here. Take a look at that video. It actually is made just for you. Actually, it's plucked out of my vast video library just for you up there. Up here is going to be Titans, last night's Titans. Feelings and hallways, not feet and hallways. Man, you need to clear out your headphones or something. EJAR. So, with that said, thank you everybody who joined me tonight or today in the chat, I should say. And thank you if you made it this far in this very rambly video where I talked about pretty much anything and everything. And I know Fanobi's going to love the whole clown porn stuff that's in there because, especially now that his favorite Cloak and Dagger is canceled. So, thank you everybody. I will talk to you in a little while later on tonight. Until then, have a good day and go get something to eat, Jar. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Oh, and don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up working for Jeph Loeb on whatever he decides to land on, which isn't a good thing. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.